All right, good morning, and very excitedly is to know that today is the first day of the last month in the year 2015. The year has come and is going, but not without a lot of activities. I mean, this year we witnessed a change of government. May 29th, President Muhammadu Buhari was sworn in as the president of the country, and the APC became now the governing, supposedly, maybe not ruling party. And ever since then, we've been seeing virtual changes, especially in so many aspects of the Nigerian economy. I mean, promises, body languages, a lot of terms and terminologies have been used to describe the activities of the president. But today, we have one very fantastic package that we have brought to you, and you just don't want to miss it, and you want to be a part of it at the same time. I mean, we'll give you opportunity if only you can. You know, the time that this show has on this very platform is Cool TV, and I believe really very strongly that some people are approaching and watching us and contributing via a couple of platforms where you're watching us right now. I'm not alone here. Ishoma Againe is with me, Barrister Ishoma Againe. How are you?
Good morning, Depo. Good morning, Nigeria.
I emphasized the barrister this morning because I will like you to give, a lot of, how will I put it, clarification on some legal matters,
no problem.
Especially as it had to do with some certain.
And be ready to face mine also as an engineer.
All right. Now we have a gentleman who joined us in the studio this morning, and we definitely will be running the show with him. Let's welcome, a social commentator, a political analyst, an entrepreneur. He's just a man who is good at whatever he chooses to do. Let's welcome Duke Oputa. Duke Oputa, good morning.
Welcome.
Good to have you on CROSSFIRE once again. Thank you, Bayo. Every time when you come in here, I just get ready. My heart just palpates and it gives me, okay, I think this man is going to drop another bomb.
Because you believe he will be speaking in your favor.
How?
No, that's because
I guess that is the reason why.
I don't want to think so. I don't want to think so.
But let's find out today.
Okay, let's just see how it goes. Now, CROSSFIRE is starting this morning, really and truly, to begin to look at, December as a month is actually characterized with a lot of I would call most of it mites. People just assume that in December some certain things happen, and they believe that, okay, it comes with the month. Not particularly because people do not realize some certain things they are doing or they have not done or they want to do before the year rounds out. And then a lot of people just characterize the month as a very bad month, as an evil month. What is December? To you, as a Nigerian, as a father, as an uncle, as a man, as a husband, and all of what exactly is December as a month to you? If you want to describe.
I always thought that it's the Ember Month rather than December in particular.
But we have September, we have October, and then November.
Before you get to December. But for me, December obviously is the time when I worry about my pocket, because that's when you have to buy.
Oh, really?
I have to buy Christmas presents for everybody, all and sundry.
Ooh, okay.
And also the time when you have to possibly, hang around with people you don't particularly like hanging around with, like members of your family that you don't particularly like.
That you have not seen in a very long time.
Absolutely.
And then everybody's coming together.
But it should be a happy month because it's the month when we all conclude our annual, activities. If you're in business or in school or whatever, we conclude it. We take stock of the results of what we've done in the last year, and we plan for the next year. So from our point of view as a society, it's a time of the year when everybody, irrespective of their culture, their religion, takes stock. They take stock. And it's the taking stock that is the issue. And of course, a lot of things also do happen in December, because again, that's one time of the year when there's a lot of people moving around, traveling from one place to the other. It's more common during this month than any other month. So you get more accidents, more this, more that. So it does bring out a lot of emotions in people when the first day of December hits. And today, we are here.
But isn't that the time of the year, like in other advanced nations, where the government make out certain benefits for its citizens, at least to also celebrate with them in the Yuletide? But in Nigeria, it seems to have been a different ballgame. That's when food prices are more expensive, goods and services are more expensive.
Fuel scarcity in the last 8 years in December period.
Well, absolutely. Economics is about demand and supply. And in terms of demand, December is 1 month when demand shoots up, skyrockets.
on almost everything,
virtually in
goods,
every economy,
services.
in every society. But in the more advanced societies, they've done things properly and rationally. So when demand is high, supply is actually increased to accommodate it, and consequently prices are driven down. In fact, the opportunity is used to generate more and more economic activities. Wow. In our own particular case, the opposite is different. I mean, that is the case. I mean, if you look at the position we are in now, I mean, I would have thought that by now, the government would have started talking about the New Year's budget, the New Year's activities, what they plan to do. But they're not even talking about that because from our point of view, it's just one of those times when people actually make money. So if rather than things going down in price, they actually go up in price, which is the wrong thing to happen. But that's because we don't really obey economic laws in Nigeria.
Lastly from me on December, so that we can quickly go into a couple of things, but really and truly, believe you me, all this information we're making across, out there, we're getting across out there, people really need it. Now, how in your very perspective, I mean, maybe your opinion and the way you can see things, do you think Nigerians today have a cause to actually have a good Yuletide celebration?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that this is the end of the year in which we actually had a tremendous political advancement, which is the changing of an incumbent government. We have never done that in, 40, 50 years of electioneering in Nigeria. So it's a very important year for us. And as we end it, we must celebrate that. But at the same time, 6 months down the line from that change, we still are looking for signs that there is true change.
We have seen virtual changes.
Well, we've seen some changes, but it's not the kind of change that I think most Nigerians were looking for. It's not a cosmetic change that we're looking for. It's a change in the nature of our society, in the way that we do things. Information, for instance, that is passed to us. We need to know what is going on in our country. We still don't know what is going on in our country. We also look forward to a reduction in our activities of terrorists in the country, creating more security for us. Again, we haven't seen that. We've actually seen more disturbances and more incursions into our territories over the territories. So it's a mixed bag in a way. Some good things and some bad things. But like you said, this is the first day of the month, so we still got another 30 days to the end of the month, and a lot can happen in 30 days, especially in politics.
Within that period,
absolutely.
exactly.
So let's wait to the end of the year.
All right, we are then using this platform to say Happy New Month to a lot of people who are watching us, and we wish you a very beautiful Yuletide period, this very particular month. And as we approach the end of the year, begin to just take stock and start counting your blessings and naming them one by one, if you can. I don't want to name mine one by one because I want it to be so superflux so that I will lose count eventually. That's my expectation. I don't know about you, but you can actually join me in expecting that. Now, let's quickly address some really very critical national issues. Now, let's do a brief assessment of the security situation, in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Now, the military coalition efforts in fighting against the insurgents in Nigeria, the terrorist activity, as far as I'm concerned, is taking a very different outlook in the sense that there have been more strategy coming up, from the quarters of the terrorists. I'll quickly, would like to call your attention to just a couple of things. Today is just Tuesday. On Sunday, we had, a classical case of how many people died. Yesterday, an army cantonment, a full cantonment was actually, attacked, and arms and ammunitions were actually carted away. And soldiers were killed. Other, people who were in the vicinity, were killed and stuff. So my question really and truly, Duke, is that what exactly is your assessment? Before I ask you, further questions, how would you assess this military fight against terrorists?
Well, first of all, let's remember that there was at some point in time a few months ago a relapse in terrorist activities in terms of physical encroachment into Nigerian territory. And at that point in time, we believed that the army was winning the war. And in fact, the desperation of the terrorists went as far as them beginning to use suicide bombers for attacks. And when an organization begins to do that, it tends to point to the fact that they're losing the battle in the open field. So we did believe that that was the beginning of the winning of the war against territorial incursions into our country. But over the last few weeks, we've seen a reverse of that. It's now a combination of both the suicide bombers, and now territorial incursion again. So we're now having situations where Boko Haram are now coming into our territory, going into our army positions, and overrunning them. Now, the big question becomes, since this government came into power, we had believed, from what they told us, that they have now equipped our soldiers, our army, adequately. They've now brought in adequate guns and machinery for them to be able to rebuff this kind of incursion. But that obviously has not happened in this case. I understand one soldier was killed during this last incursion, yes, and that one soldier is one person too many, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, really.
So ultimately, the question begins, why is the army not performing? I would have thought that even things like reconnaissance missions, putting people ahead of the camps. I mean, why would they not have noticed that there was a group of people coming to the camp 2 or 3 miles ahead? Why did they not have any sentries out there? Did they not have intelligence in the communities out there? Because you can't move that number of people into the camp without somebody noticing that they're coming. And if you knew they were coming, you'd be in a position to actually stop them. So the question is, do we have the right people actually commanding our army and soldiers? I'm beginning to doubt that. Buhari met my appointments recently. He sacked the army chiefs and brought in new people. Now, if this guy, I think it's Buratai is his name, is
yes,
that the guy? Yeah. If this guy is incapable of securing our land, our territory from a bunch of insurgents, then maybe he's the wrong person to be in the job. So again, if I were the president, I should be looking right into the setup in the army and asking the question, is this the right person? And the criteria that he's going to be using to make these appointments has to change. Because as far as we can see, the criteria doesn't seem to be centered on, if you like, the ability of the army to do this more than, what he thinks should be the right composition.
But should this rest only on the commander, that is the chief of army staff? No, because if you take a look at some of the military barracks across the country, you also see that security is not as tight as it should be. No, this is not just in the north, even in the southern parts of the country. Let's take Lagos, for example. I mean, you can go freely into some of the military barracks without proper scrutiny. And this is a function of the commandant of that particular barracks or that particular garrison. That means they're not up to speed when it comes to security intelligence. But to put this on the chief of army staff alone, I mean, don't you think that is a little bit too hard?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, the chief of army staff is he's a chap who is responsible for deploying these GOCs that you talk about. The commanders in the various units and the various commands are directly responsible to the chief of army staff. So he is the man that has got his finger on the button. If he presses, it happens. If he takes it off, it doesn't happen. If security is lacking in our army cantonments, the responsibility for that is down to the chief of army staff, nobody else. If those commanders have instructions to do specific things and they fail to do those things, he will remove them and redeploy them somewhere else. So as you say, sentries, intelligence in community, and making sure that there's physical tight security of movement in the area around the barracks is essential. And anybody who has a mindset to achieve this will achieve it. So as far as I'm concerned, it's down to the mindset. I don't think that...
Now, I mean, sorry to cut you in now. I mean, giving an explanation to what happened, in Adamawa State, I mean, they stormed Gulak, the administrative headquarters of the Madagali in the northern part of Adamawa State. And, it was obvious that their mission was to take over that very particular facility. I mean, to the extent that they set ablaze the military cantonment. I mean, and then they went away with a lot of artillery. And believe you me, this is very, very bad. If a place that is supposedly an artillery, a military, an administrative headquarters, and it's not well manned, by military guards, to have even seen insurgents or these militants coming from afar, let alone coming so close and setting ablaze a major facility. I mean, it's really very unfair. I don't know how to really explain it.
Well, that is the point, Deji. The point is that, as I say, it is not a difficult thing to actually stop an insurgence.
Don't you think there could be an insider saying, this is the time to come because we are very unguarded?
Well,
if you come right now,
maybe it's time for them to change the shift and all
or something.
Well, like I said, there was a level of success a few months back. And actually, we drove them out of most of Zimbabwe forest and most of the northeast areas they were occupying 3-4 months ago. We literally drove them out with the help of the international community, the coalition from Chad and Cameroon and so on and so forth. And they subsequently moved on to suicide bombing, because that's usually what tends to happen when you're losing the battle in the field. So for them to be coming back now is an indication that they have actually surmised that the Nigerian army is incapable of stopping them.
Incapable, or maybe they're relapsing because they're overwhelmed with the victory and successes they're achieving.
An army
couldn't that be the situation?
I don't know.
Well, how can you be overwhelmed with victory? Look, the war has not been won.
Yes.
A battle has been won. You don't stop fighting when you win a battle. You stop fighting when you win a war. And the war is still in place. So for them to be complacent, it's probably, we're cutting too thin.
Anti-military.
The reality of the matter is that two things you have to look at is morale. First of all, if these guys come into the camp, they've got guns, they're shooting at you. Do you shoot back or do you run? My impression is that our soldiers run. They actually run away. If they actually sat down and fought, you wouldn't get this situation of them taking over. Because, first of all, they don't have more numbers. They don't have better guns and equipment. So why should they overwhelm a complete military unit?
We assume that they don't have all of those things, Duke. We assume. It's an assumption.
No, we don't assume.
Are you trying to say that we actually can match the militants right now when it comes to artillery?
That's outrageous. They even suggest that the militants can have more arms and guns than us. It's outrageous. First of all, where are they getting the money to pile up this kind of arms? Most of the arms they have, most of the arms they have, they've gotten from us in the first place. So how can you say they have more than us? If they're taking our arms...
What if there is a form of a reinforcement somewhere that we don't know?
From where? That is what the government is there for. Our borders are manned by our soldiers. Our borders are manned by our customs people.
The nation has over 1,400 illegal borders.
1,400 illegal borders. Multiply by 20, and that's 20 times 1,000. That's 25,000.
The possibility of not having security presence across those borders are high.
No, the probability is high, but if it is there, it's because the government is failing. Why shouldn't every single one of those borders be manned? If it requires 20 men
if you can name them and count them, then why are they not manned?
Thank you.
If you really... that makes a proper...
Some of the arguments against that has been the terrain,
but the
locality.
No, if the terrain is bad, then how come the terrorists can cross it?
How come?
So if they can cross it, so we can stay there too. We can't run away from the fact that the army is failing us, and consequently the government is failing us.
Exactly.
The time for excuses are gone.
I am forced to begin to feel that Nigeria is not serious about this fight.
No, we're not.
At the same time, I'm forced to feel that the military are not sincere in getting the desired results.
Well, I don't think the military... morale is very important. I mean, I would not blame the individual soldier. I mean, the individual Nigerian soldier is a very brave young man. He works very, very hard. I saw...
And he works with command also.
Absolutely. I saw a documentary.
Works with command.
I saw a documentary which I would urge most people to watch, which is the state of the war in Nigeria. And you see our soldiers working very, very hard. And these soldiers, you can't identify them from where they come. They're all Nigerians that all have the same purpose. But if you don't give them this logistical support, if you don't give them the intelligence that they need, if you don't give them the arms and ammunition that they need to fight off these incursions, they will not do it.
All right.
And once they feel themselves disadvantaged, they will panic and they will run.
Okay.
And I think that is what is happening at the moment. And then the terrorists are getting more and more arms out of our own stock and then using it against ourselves. So we are paying for them to shoot at us, and that is just not good enough.
All right. I mean, it's becoming like a jam question to find out whether we're winning the war and we're winning the battle. And a lot of people are wondering, where will the right answers actually come from to get, for these questions? And that's why we will just quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more about security in Nigeria, and then we'll touch all the stories. We'll be right back.
So, did you like what you just saw? I know you did. It's very simple. If you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel right now.